Welcome back to the Creative Process Podcast with myself, Jared Klein, episode 88 today. Obviously, you know that we have a guest on today, but we will get into the guest very shortly. But first off, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming out today. I always love listening to you guys, your guys' feedback, and when you guys, talk to me and say, hey, that episode last week was trash. You should do better. Or maybe that episode last week was awesome. You should do more of that. Okay. It's fantastic. I always love hearing that. It's really awesome. Seeing that you guys are enjoying the podcast. It's really, really awesome. That's the main thing. So anyways, I don't know if I should call you Dylan or DeadlyDill. What would you prefer to go by?
You could just call me. It's tough, dude. I guess because you met me through as DeadlyDill. We're talking about my company. Right. Just call me Dill. Dill's cool too. Okay. That's like in a middle ground, because people call me Dill who know me in the content creation space. People call me Dill who just know me regularly through my business. So that's fine.
Okay. Okay. We'll call you Dill. So anyways, thank you for coming on today, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. We've jumped through some loopholes and lawnmower problems, having to reschedule and everything. So.
Everything, bro. We've done it all.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I really appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day to do this. So if you don't mind, introduce yourself to the people that don't know who you are, and then we will jump into what we got on the docket for today.
Yeah. Well, I am Dill, or DeadlyDill, or call me Dill, but I do. Yeah. Anyway, So I'm Dill. I'm from Louisiana. I'm down in the Bayou, it is super just nasty over here. So if you want to go to New Orleans during the summer, don't do it. I'm from California originally. I moved to Louisiana 7 years ago. Total culture shock. So that was the weirdest moment of my life. Lived in California 20 years, and then I moved to Louisiana, and I'm like, okay, who are these people? Who are you people? And why do you want to talk to me? Because Southern hospitality is a real thing, and it creeped me out for the longest time. Anyway, so I'm from Louisiana. I am married to my wife, Elizabeth, for this year is 7 years. I have 3 amazing kids. I have my daughter, Alaya, my son, Peter, and then I have my youngest daughter, who's about to turn a year next month. Amelia. So we've been here in Louisiana for 7 years, and I'm content creator, business owner, super dad, coffee drinker. I'm obsessed with Star Wars.
Hell yeah.
As you can tell, I don't know if you can see in this corner. Also in the corner, I have an original Darth Vader action figure from 1977, most prized possession.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, yeah, and a comic book too, original Marvel comic book from 1978 as well. So huge Star Wars fan outside of everything else I do. But yeah, that's just kind of that's me. A little bit of me in a nutshell. I was before I did everything, I was a Starbucks coffee master for 5 years.
Is that the exact title? Coffee master?
Yeah, Starbucks. Yeah, I was a coffee master. Yeah. So I did all the reserve. So as much as you want to call it a coffee master for being at Starbucks, but they had some reserve stuff, which was really good, actually. It's like Starbucks regular stores are kind of but the reserve stuff was really good. So that's kind of where my love for coffee kind of took off and whatnot. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me, 30, turning 32 this coming up month in September. So yeah, dude, we're just living life.
Hell yeah. That's fantastic. I'm getting into this loop now on this podcast of adding content creators and people within a different space than myself, but also still in that creative space. We put the broad, quotations over creative space every time we talk about that.
Right. Exactly. Because there's so much that it can imply in the creative space. 100%. Yeah,
everywhere. Yeah. You could be in you could be head of marketing and be considered in the creative space,
Oh, so, exactly.
Yeah, it's very broad. But yeah, I'm starting to segue this podcast into including more of that content creation, and now having you on more of that creative business management side of the whole area. You did mention shortly there that you do own your own business. If you don't mind jumping into that, explain what you do and everything like that, because it's fantastic.
Yeah. So kind of backtrack a little bit. So I was a pastor for 10 years. COVID hit, and I was like, there's nothing to do, can't do anything. Got into content creation, kind of a lot of stuff with that content creation kind of blew up. I think now, even after not doing it for about a year now, I think we're still at like over 200,000 followers across all the platforms that I'm on. Really enjoyed it, really took off. And because during COVID, we couldn't really do anything with people at church. So we just kind of went with it, and it did really well. And as COVID kind of stopped, being super prominent in the world, and things kind of got back to normal. I still had that kind of desire. I still was doing content. I still was doing a lot of stuff, but I kind of had a shifting of like, man, I don't really want to be a pastor too much anymore. Not because I didn't enjoy it and because I didn't want to be involved with church or anything like that. It was just simply because I just felt this kind of leaning towards kind of the media space, especially social media, because I just really enjoyed it. And so I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I really want to do some sort of thing that involves social media marketing or content creation for local companies, or even helping content creators with their content as well. And so I kind of moved in this direction about a year ago, which is, I think this month. Yeah, this month is 1 year the business has been open now. I started my business called Walter World Media. And through all the content creation stuff and through all the stuff, all the knowledge that we've learned through the years of just doing my own thing, I started to open this company where I'm like, man, I can do this for other businesses and help them succeed. And especially because living in Southeast Louisiana, I need you to think Louisiana itself is 10 years behind. I think 5 years behind. No, bro, you would not it hurts, bro. I live in a city where it's like, they know social media exists. Everybody's on it. When it comes to marketing, they're very dude, how can I say this? It's very my cousin can take pictures with their iPhone 5 and we'll just throw it up there. And That's the quality that throws up. And I'm like, no, please don't do this. This here is bad. This is horrible. Don't do this. This is good. We want you to do this. Use me so that okay. So was another big thing where I could step into anyway. So as we started this thing, and so basically what we do, Walter World Media, we do social media marketing. So social media marketing, we do video content creation, we do photography. I take all the pictures for businesses and stuff like that as well. Manage social channels. I do SEO. I run Google pages. I run reviews. I help them come up with systems and ways to do their stuff. So that's kind of what we do as a company. So social media management and everything. We do just about anything that involves marketing, that's digital marketing for companies in our area, and even content creators who need it as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you were just I'm seeing a lot of this stuff kind of come up. I'm connecting with more people that own their own thing. And also with me getting into the thumbnail space, I'm connecting with a lot of agency owners that outsource their work to freelancers and stuff like that. So I'm starting to get into that space a little bit more. And some people are all digital. They do all, all their clientele is remote, not local. Some are in between. Some are only local. Are you mainly local? Is that your main clientele?
Right now, yes, but I think for a while I did I partnered with my friend's company to do, there was a tequila company in Southern California. And we're both my friend's from Austin, Texas, and I'm in Louisiana. And so, we did it from afar. He would go out and do most of the stuff. I would help manage hey, we need some influencers who want to use our tequila, whatever it may be. And so it kind of just depends. I'm open to any of it. But then, when obviously talking to people, I'm like, hey, I obviously can't take the pictures for you. I obviously can't do the video for you, but this is what I can do. But if you provide me with all the video and stuff, or the pictures that you want to use, I'll edit them. Right. So, but I definitely am a little more localized at the moment. I think I actually have a little bit of both. I have a lot of local companies, but also have a lot of outsourcing video, video editing clients as well too. So I don't have too many outside clients that are kind of social media driven, but I have more outside clients that are more video editing. And so it just kind of depends. I'm open to anything because we're capable of doing that, right? Because we can do, basically digital marketing and social media marketing everywhere, so it's really cool. Yeah. Right.
So I'm very interested in how, did you start content creation and then you were like, hey, let's start this business, and you may have said this before, I may be spacing.
Right. No, it's fine. Yeah.
did you start content creation first, and you were like, hey, let's go into something that I'm already, pretty good at, and I had my brain wrapped around it? Is that kind of how the progression was started, or did you go business then personal content creation?
Right. So it's funny because like I've had this desire. I've done photography since I was like 15 years old. So like there is this kind of aspect of everything that I wanted to do, like for a long time. Like I don't remember, you remember Periscope? Do you remember Periscope when it came out?
Periscope, no.
Super long ago. It was owned by Twitter. It was basically like it was a go live thing, and you could pick anywhere in the world to watch like people who were live. And my friend reminded me that I used to do this a lot, and I would have like 50, 60 people watching just my live streams, just hanging out, like
interesting,
talking, because the dude's from California, right? I'm from California, and so people were like, "What's it like in California?" And so I was able to talk about that. Big in the church too, as well. So I was able to talk to people about that. And so my friend reminded me about this like this last month. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot." But anyway, I've always had this desire to do creative. Like I've always loved creative stuff. I've always loved like just content creation, video, whatever it may be. But anyway, I started out doing content creation because we moved from out of state to California, and I didn't have any friends. I had nobody. I had no idea who anybody was. Like I was by myself for 4 months before I got married to my wife. Like I moved out here first. And then I moved back. We went back to California to get married. But man, I was by myself, and I was like, dude, I'm so bored. Like I don't have any friends. Like even like with being a youth pastor, like obviously I'm not, there's people I knew, but they're all teenagers and not really going to be friends with them because I'm their pastor and everything like that.
Right.
So it was one of those things where like, man, I've heard these stories of people like making all these friends like through like gaming and through like content creation. I'm like, dude, I really want that. Like I want to be able to do that. And so I did all that, and I went through it. And so we started content creation, and through all the skills that I learned through content creation, through just like TikTok and how to interact with people, how to even edit video. Man, I look back at my first video that I ever edited, and it was doo-doo. It was so bad. I was like, what was I even thinking? Like right now, I would not even think in a million years to post that. But back then I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever made. So it started with the desire to just create. Okay. Right. And I had this innate desire of like, I just want to create things. I love making people laugh. I love just being creative. I love just being in that space with people and I think the reason why I loved it so much was because it's an easy way for me to connect with people. I'm a big people person. That's one of the reasons why I became a pastor, because I just love people, want to be a positive influence to people, want to be an uplifting or creative example to people, no matter where I go. And then that evolved into, man, like I know the reason why I started the company. Number one, I just felt like it was the direction I wanted to go. Number two was because I realized how hard it was doing all the little tedious stuff as a content creator. And so I originally started it to want to help content creators. I didn't think about local businesses at first. It was very much, I started it because I had a desire to help content creators, because I was as myself, like thinking like, man, I hated editing video. I hated worrying about what to post. I hated worrying about managing my, all my freaking social media platforms that I had to keep up with. Right. I had all these different things that I had to keep up with. And I was just like, if I could just have that one person, like someone just like, hey, can you take it? And can you just do it? Like, so that way I can focus on creating. Right. And I think it's the biggest thing with any content creators, that they want to focus on creating and not have to worry about half these things. They want to be able to film a video, pass it off to an editor or pass it off to somebody and be like, I can trust you with my content and I'm going to move forward. And so I started with that because I was like, dude, it's so much tedious work. And I wanted to be the person to be like, let me take that tedious work for you. Let me play the background for you. I don't care about getting any sort of shout out or whatever. Let me do this. So that way you can do what you're supposed to do, which is go create content. And what you feel like you're supposed to go stream, whatever it may be, I want you to go do that. Let me handle the rest of it, right? And that expanded into, wow, there's a lot of local businesses in my city that like just have no marketing whatsoever at all. And I'm like, bro, and the more that I met with them, they were like, it's not that they didn't want to do it. They were just so focused on their business and making sure that their business was up and running and that they were taking care of customers and they were, putting out product or whatever it may be. So I come alongside them and being like, hey, newsflash, and I know we're in Louisiana. I know we feel like we're 20 years behind the entire world, but digital marketing is a thing now. We're like, we need to stop doing this paper marketing because, dude, no lie. There was somebody that came and tried to sell one of the people that I do marketing for ads on the back of grocery receipts. And I'm like, no one's going to look at that. We're going to rip that up and throw it away because I have a digital receipt.
Right.
Everything goes to I don't need that. Right. And so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the back of the grocery receipts, sometimes you'll see like, you know, 5% off, whatever, or hey, buy one, get one free next week on beef or whatever. Like, they wanted to sell that. I'm like, dude, we live in an age where like no one carries paper receipts anymore. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, man, I want to help these people get into like the digital marketing age. Like, dude, Facebook and Instagram, they're free advertisement. Like, why are we spending $300 on paper advertising? You can get on there, TikTok, YouTube. And so I was like, man, let me help these companies get out there on Facebook and on Instagram. Because the thing about Louisiana, and it's so different than doing any sort of marketing or even any sort of like social media work, I feel like even in like California, where I'm originally from, because it's just a different thing. Like, everything is very local. If you're a homegrown business, like, that's it. Like, they want Louisiana people love the local hometown, you know, fleur-de-lis on the wall. Like, they just, that is them. Right. And so a lot of the businesses don't do this because they're like, people love us anyway. We're good. But I'm thinking, like, how much more can your reach be into other surrounding cities if you were to put your stuff out there? If people were to be like, wow, like 20 minutes down the road, we have another city that they have no idea that this restaurant even exists or this coffee shop even exists. Let me put you on the map. And so my whole heart behind it was I want to take that load off people, help them get something out of it, and, you know, move forward with that.
So, question for you. Have you seen Undercover Billionaire by Grant Cardone? The series on Discovery. Is it Discovery?
I think so. I think I've seen partial episodes. I haven't watched and I haven't actually watched it. No.
So basically he goes into, like, he is like stripped of everything. He goes with like $100 to, I think the town was Mesa, Colorado or something like that. Some town. It has like 250,000 people in Colorado, which in my area, that's a pretty big town. Right. But yeah, no one knows him there, everything like that. And basically he ends up starting a social media marketing agency in the town of Mesa. It's called Wake Up. And now if you like look it up or whatever, it's like, he's like, his like 10X thing with Grant Cardone, he's partnered with them now. He like completely helps them. And basically in like 30 days, or I think it was 60 days actually, he built them from the ground up to like a $5 million valuation in 60 days.
Holy crap, dude.
So,
that's insane.
But the best part about that is you were seeing him do like the groundwork, and it's on his YouTube channel too. He has like a full watch along. It's like 8 hours long, but I like watched it throughout a couple days, like had it on my other monitor while I was working. And he goes down and breaks down like reaching out to clients and having meetings and how much influence, you know, he may have if he was Grant Cardone versus now he's like nobody. So how does he structure conversations? How does he, you know, set up either a presentation or set up like conversation flowing and setting up his reputation before he even gets to the conversation and stuff like that. So I rambled a little bit there, but my segue into my question that I'm going to ask was that basically reaching out to clientele. Are you going like door to door? Are you going like phone call? Are you calling secretaries? Like what's your whole MO there?
Right. So over the past year, so the company has evolved a little bit. I think it's just starting to we've gotten over that first year of like, you know, whatever, we're moving into a different direction, in a good direction, kind of like a new level here. Right. So I say that to lead into this. Like when I first started, it was all word of mouth. Like, bro, that was insane. Like I think the first month, like the first 4 months of the company, I had some clientele drop off, not because of anything bad, just because they're like, you know what, you know, whether they couldn't afford it anymore or something happened or whatever it is. Like, so we had some of that happen, but I think the first Actually, no, it was the tequila company decided to go with a huge marketing agency versus my friend's little private company. So like, so we took a big hit then. But anyway, the first 4 months, I think, of the company, I made triple what I made as a pastor over at my church. So like, it was like, and that was just word of mouth. It was like, whoa. Anyway, so like, just to put it into perspective, how powerful the word of mouth is, to where like, what, you know, if you're starting even a company, like having those people helping you. But we just started word of mouth. We started with just like people contacting me, people like, you know, reaching out to me because they heard whatever. And it helped too. One of the biggest things that helped me was because I was doing social media marketing for our local coffee shop, like the local coffee shop in our city. And it's a bigger one now. It started like as a trailer for 4 years, opened up a brick and mortar, and now we have like 4 locations now. And so I do all their social media work. So because it was nice, because I was partnering with them and they're such a big deal in our city, people are like, oh, you do the social media for them? Let me talk to you real quick. Or let me, you know, so there was a lot of word of mouth. I think 90% of my business, even right now, has all been word of mouth or people seeing me on Facebook or whatever it may be. So there hasn't been until recently, because I'm really wanting to kind of shift directions in a good way. It's been very much word of mouth. And then a little bit of me, like if I've noticed like, okay, man, this client probably is no longer going to use their services anymore because either they're kind of wanting to try it themselves or whatever. I need to get a client. That's kind of when I would start searching a little bit, because like, you know, in this industry, even with social media marketing and stuff like that, like creative, just in general, you know, next month could be totally different from the month, you know, the previous month, because I may have a client drop, or I might have a client say, hey, I want to cut back on what we're doing. So I need to, you know, cut back on some spending because of, you know, obviously the financial craziness that's happening in the US now, but like they're needing to cut back on stuff or whatever it may be. And so I don't know what's going to happen. So those are the moments that I found like, okay, let's look for some people. Let's look on, there's this website called, it's like Indeed, it's called Alignable, but it's more localized. So like you can connect with local business owners and whatever, all that stuff. Right. And so that's kind of when I would do that. But now what we're recently doing now is, because I'm really wanting to get to this point where I'm no longer just owner operator. I really just want to be owner. Like, and I want to be able to bring people on eventually. And I think, 5-year plan is to like not have me run like as far as like operating the company, having some other people, like, having a crew of like, 6 people or so that are helping maintain it and stuff. But we're going into the spot where we're looking on Indeed and we're looking at companies that are needing social media or digital marketing people, but they're wanting to hire in-house. And me coming to them and I have a whole business proposal that we typed out and being like, hey, I saw that you're looking for a new company, or I see that you're looking for a position for social media manager. I see that you're looking for a digital marketing. Hey, my name's Dylan. I own and run Walter World Media. This is what we do. We do the same exact thing that you're looking for. I would love to set up a meeting with you. Because I can potentially save you 30%, monthly. Right. On the expense of what it would cost for you to hire an in-house person, because you don't have to pay me insurance, you don't have to pay my social security, you don't have to do anything. You pay me just straight up invoice to me without any sort of those things attached to it, right? And so that's kind of the approach. So this actually just happened this past week, where we're kind of wanting to make this shift, because like I've been very small client based, very like, hey, you're the sole owner, or like you're a one-person company that I'm helping try to get off the ground. Because I believe that those people are, those people are kind of the more people who are like wanting that kind of advertisers. They want to get they're starting their business. Like, man, let's go after it. Let's do it. Let's dive into it. And those have been the businesses that have been really like, that I've helped, that have been very successful, which has been awesome, because we keep hearing, man, I heard you on Facebook, or, I saw you on Instagram, which has been really cool to see.
Well, and you're so committed to it too. They're fresh start, you're both in it together, right? Like you're both in it. It's like, hey, like you're trusting me with promoting your brand new business. Like for you, there's like no reason for you not to be committed to that, like that's exciting. That's super exciting.
Exactly. And I've always taken it this way too. And, and one of the biggest things that I tell people whenever I'm trying to sign them on or trying to get them as a client, because there's a lot of social media agencies out there. I mean, I think anybody who's in the creative space can scroll through TikTok and be like, you need to use my creative agency, or man, do you want to have a video editor for only $1 a day? And I'm like, how are you doing this? Number one. But like, all these different, so creative agencies are all over the place. And the one thing that I pride about being a small one at the moment is that I can look at somebody in the eyes and be like, hey, look, I'm not here just to sign a contract. Like, if your business does well, that means my business does well. And if your business does well, that means that we can talk about increase of contract here, right? Because we're both in this together. I care about your business going to the next level. And through your business going to the next level, people are going to be like, oh, who does all your stuff? Oh, Walter World Media does it all. Cool. That helps me out. And so, and being able to be on call for people too, because I do offer some of our bigger clients who do pay, who are higher paying clients. Like, hey, if you need a video, if you need someone to take video or photos, like for an event that you're having in 2 days, I got it. I'm there. I'll make time for it because I'm that, I have the capability of doing stuff like that. And so I take very, big pride in being able to be like, hey, we care. I want to see your company succeed. That's why I did this in the first place. I was not just so that way I can get it. Cause I'm going to be honest. And I don't know if people agree with this, but like doing social media marketing and doing anything in the content creation space, if you know your worth and you know your value and you know how to do stuff, it is very easy to make money in it. It really is. And I don't mean that like it's easy, like, man, buy my book and 5 easy steps and you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. No, I don't mean that, but it's like, I have a skill. You have a skill that you've built up and people need that skill and you know your worth and you show that the skill works. People are going to be like, it's worth my investment now.
And on the flip side, it's very easy to move past a no.
Yeah.
Because just the confidence levels there,
Oh yeah. And I can, dude, before I was always worried, like going to the people being like, I'd be like, so, it's going to cost you, does this sound good? Like that would be it. But now I can be like, oh, you got this is going to cost this many $100, or hey, you want all of this, man. And anybody would do this if they're a higher paying company and they're a company that's bringing in stuff like the financial group company that I just talked to this week. I know that group is a big group. They're one of the bigger ones in our city, and I know that they're bringing in clientele. So I can easily confidently be like, hey, all this is going to cost you $1,500 a month to do everything. And that means me being on call to be like a photographer too, if you need me for your events. Right. And so being able to confidently be like, I know my worth now, and being able to be like, and having a minimum too. And I'm not just taking up like, oh man, okay, you can pay me $100 a month. Cool. No, I don't do that. Now knowing my worth in it, because it is a skill. And I think a lot of people, I think that's why I think a lot of times social media marketing or even just like digital marketing people who run a business like myself, I think sometimes not look down upon, but almost seeing like, what's the, why do I need to do that? I can take a picture. I can take a picture with my iPhone. Like, and granted, iPhone 14s and 13s are phenomenal. Like if you don't have a camera, like they're great. And you can, like technically, if you know what you're doing, you can. But a lot of times you just don't have the time. And with inconsistent posting, with inconsistent connecting with your customers and the audience that you're trying to reach, alert the clientele, it gets messy. And so that's where I come in and be like, hey, look, I have the skill. I know what I'm doing. And the great part is I can be like, here's what I've done for my personal stuff. I've grown it to all these many levels, and I know how to at least market, and I know how to hopefully connect to the audience and get customers through your door. Right. And so that's kind of like, that's the biggest thing of being able to know the value in it now and confidently step in and also being able to work with people too. I'm not going to be like, well, you can't pay me this much money, like forget you. But there is a minimum though at the same time. I'm like, hey, I would love to help you, but here's what I can do for what you can offer me. Right. Or, hey, this is my minimum. If you can't afford that, maybe we can look at another time. Maybe you can hire me on occasion. Like, let me come take pictures for you and you pay me, $300 for the, for 2 days of coming and taking pictures for you. Right. Stuff like that. And so I always try to work with the customer because I always having the thought process of like, I don't want to leave someone who's interested in using my services, just kind of like giving them the fat no right off the bat. But there are some people that I have to, but at the same time, I always try to like offer services because maybe that one day they're like, if I do something like that, maybe one day they're like, dude, I want to bring him on now for full service. Like I've seen what he's done, man. He's taken some great pictures, or man, he helped us like with that ad campaign that we wanted to do, or he came out to our event and he took pictures and he pushed it. Like it was awesome, man. Let's bring him on for full services. Right. And so I do what I can with that as well. And, but yeah, dude, it's been great doing it. Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned a little bit like, you mentioned, bringing people on for X amount a month, or, bringing people on for $15,000, not 15,000.
Bro, I wish, man. What
the big thing with like freelance that we've talked about, I mean, we mentioned it a little bit in this podcast too. But the big thing with like freelance that has been mentioned on this podcast before is like that month to month kind of, wariness. If you don't really have that recurring, it can get very easily, it can get a little bit slippery and, unpredictable, to where with an agency, you can bring people on retainer, you can bring people on, monthly contracts and stuff like that. I guess like is your main source of like your recurring revenue, is that retainer, or are you still going that like month to month, project to project type of thing? You obviously don't have to say monetary values, but
no, yeah. So we do, as a retainer, like, so what we'll do so whenever I bring a client on right off the bat, it's always 3 months minimum. It's 3 months minimum, but you have to let me, so I put in the contract, it's like, it's 3 months minimum, but you have to give me 30 days notice before you cancel me. So hypothetically, if someone cancels me at the end of 3 months, and they're like, hey, we don't use it anymore. Well, you still got 30 days left that we agreed on. It's a 30-day notice. You still have to pay a month, even if you don't use me.
Right.
And so I do that because number one, I got a family I got to take care of too. So like, if I was just doing freelance stuff, number one, I probably never would have like gone this direction. And my wife probably wouldn't have let me, because she's like, we need to feed 3 children. I'm like, I know.
Right.
So it's I do it based 100% on contract. And what I do after the contract is done, we take 3 months and we reevaluate. Okay, where are we at? How has this helped you? Have we improved? What do we need to work on? And are we in a place where we can up the contract because we have been seeing more business come through your doors? In that moment, they can either be like, hey, you know what? Can't really afford some right now. It's working. Let's stay where we're at. Cool. Awesome. We'll stay where we're at. So what happens after, in that case, I'll be like, hey, okay, so it's an indefinite contract, basically, is what I worded. It's like 3 months, but afterwards it's indefinite. And the only way to break it is if we both come to agreement and say, hey, this is not working out anymore, or hey, look, I can't take you on as a client anymore because it's just not working out with my time. Like I'm not able to do X, Y, and Z. Hey, we just signed like 3 giant clients. Like, so that's more so with my smaller clients, like my baby, like, one person thing and everything like that. And it's not because of anything bad. It's just simply because like, hey, like I got to take care of my family too at the same time. But at the same time, what I'm trying to do through that is like, if I do that, I'm able to bring people on and contract people out. So I've had moments where I'm able to contract people out, like, oh, you can go take care of a smaller client while I take care of these bigger clients over here. So it doesn't always end to that, but so I do indefinite contracts after that's done. So basically it's like, you're going to use me month to month, and that 30-day notice is still in there. So regardless, if they're like, hey, we're going to cut the contract, cool, you still got 30 days. So that gives me and my family that time to be like, okay, we get one more thing coming in. Let's go look for some more clients. Let's bring them in. Right. But if they say to me like, hey, this is awesome. Like, we love what you're doing. Like, we've increased, like, let's talk about upping the price. Then at that moment, then I enter him into another 3-month contract. So that way that price stays for at least 3 months. So that way there's not being like, and God forbid, like, obviously I wouldn't want this to happen in the company, but if they're like, after 1 month, they see a little dip in their finances or sales or whatever like that, they can't come to me and be like, oh, sorry, we got to cut it. No, you're locked into a 3-month contract and we need to figure something out. Right.
Have you had a breach of contract before?
No. I have luckily have worked with some awesome clients. I've had one drop. More of the video editing clients that I have are the ones that drop more often than local company, because either they're like, they have a surplus of money and they really want to focus on editing videos, and then after that's done, they're like, hey, I can't really afford it at the moment. Like, we'll go, well, I want to use you eventually, but I got to kind of do it my own right now because I can't afford it. Cool. Right. Awesome. But I've never had anyone breach contract. I've had people be late on invoices, though, I'll tell you that. but yeah, dude. So
is everybody in the space. Let's be honest,
bro. bro, that invoice come, I'm like, reminder.
Right.
Reminder.
It's like, I got bills to pay.
Bro, I got my kid cannot eat, like, cannot just keep eating yogurt, bro. We need to get something. I need to get these kids some chicken or something, man. So, but yeah, I haven't had a breach of contract. I've been very fortunate not to have any hard discussions with clients, which has been amazing. But you know that, and I think the most awkward conversation I've had to have with clients was more like, hey, like, business seems to be doing well, you know, and there's a lot more work that's been going into it. Let's renegotiate this contract because, you know, it's, you know, we gotta put worth to what I'm doing as well. You know, like with the coffee shop, when I signed the contract with them, it was one shop. Now we have 4 shops. And so now I'm like, hey, let's talk, because I have to go take pictures everywhere. Right. Or I have to go to an hour away to our furthest store, and I have to go spend maybe my whole day is worth driving out there, taking pictures. That's gas. That's time away from my family. And that's another thing too, when negotiating contracts outside of like freelance, it's very much like I think of everything that goes into it. Right. And I think freelance does too, but this is on a pretty big level of like, hey, if I take you on, this means time away from my family. This means extra added on work that is outside of a 9-to-5 kind of setting. Right. Because basically I'm always on the clock, you know, it is. And I have to force myself to take days off, take a day off or whatever, because like I can always be doing something. And so I always put in the contract thinking of, you know, man, this is going to be time away from family. This is going to cost the gas money that's going to cost going back and forth all the time, the wear and tear on my equipment, the wear and tear on my car. I put all of that is included in the contract, depending on distance of client, depending on the amount of work for the client. I always include all that because, and it should be, because, you know, and I think even freelancers should do that too. Like, man, you're putting hours on, you know, our PCs. Yeah. Some of us may have mega rigs, but dude, that wear and tear of uploading 4K, you know, video at like 60 frames, like it puts a wear on our, you know, and so I always incorporate that because I want to be able to have the space. Number one, making sure my family's taken care of, making sure that we can update equipment or replace equipment if it's broken, making sure that I can replace stuff on my car, which, you know, is able to get me from A to B for these different clients of going taking pictures and video and stuff like that. So, but yeah, all in all, that's kind of how we do our contracts and how we handle processes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I've seen on your Twitter, you've posted a couple times about like a physical office space. Are you in that right now, or is this just your home office space?
This is my home office right here. So, yeah, so we started out in the home office. So yeah, so start off here. This was it right here. And we kind of started the company here, and then being a dad and my kids knowing that I'm home, you know, it's always knock, knock, knock. Dad, can we play? Dad, can we do this? Dad, are you home?
If you don't mind, when you say we, do you mean like you and your wife, or you and like your employees, or you as like your company, like we as the company?
Oh, what we I guess just the company, yeah, or whatever. But yeah, my kids are always like wanting to play or you know, stuff like that, or Dad, can you come play with us, or you know, and so I had to find a space. I had to get to a spot where I'm like, dude, I need to have some sort of like office space or whatever. And honestly, I wasn't thinking about it. I was always in the back of my mind, but I never was going to pull the trigger because office spaces are just horrendously expensive right now. They just are, just in general. So it's funny how things work out. So one of my clients is an e-commerce tire company. That's a local company. So they sell car tires or tractor tires, any sort of, if it's a tire, they'll sell it, right? Wheelbarrow tires, whatever it is. And so they own the building that our coffee shop's second location is at. And so they put the coffee shop on the bottom floor. They redid a building and put like offices and redecorated the space and remodeled the space. And they really wanted me there because they really liked me. They're like, man, we want you to be in the space. So let me backtrack a little bit. The e-commerce company owner, him and his dad and another guy own the building, own that building that my office is in. And like, we really like what you're doing. Like, we love what you're doing for our company. Like, we like you being in this building. Like, I know you're going to be here anyway, because you're going to do stuff at the coffee shop. Why don't you get a business office with us? We'd love to have you here. And I'm like, I would love to, but that, some of these offices are pushing to 4-digit range, and I can't afford that. And so basically what I did, and it's just funny how everything works out. I basically have traded services with them, where I trade service. So I run. So
that's how it goes, man.
Dude, it's super simple too with their stuff too. I'm like, man, I'm getting the deal right now. It feels like, but basically I run their reviews. I put up graphics to buy tires, and everything like that. And then I run the whole business park. Like I promote for the business park. Like, hey, come to our, come rent a business space or office space from us, or, whatever it is. So I do that. And then I run, one of the other owners, their son is a international, like, powerlifting, like, champion, like for his weight class, like he won like international, like, champion for that. And so I run like all of his stuff, like, on his website. And so just updating the website, help him out and stuff like that. But I get my office space for free. I just have to pay CAM charges, which includes like taking care of like the landscaping, upkeeping things and everything like that. So yeah, dude. So I got very, very fortunate to move into that space. And so I kind of go back and forth. I'll work sometimes if I have to edit a video. My PC is the monster PC, so that's where I edit all my videos here. And then I go to the office when I need to do busy work, whether it be like, social media posts or graphic design stuff or website stuff. And so I kind of like split the difference, and it's helped out a lot because it's helped me stay focused. It's helped me give myself a reason to work hard so I can come home to my family at the end of the day. And so, yeah, dude, it's been awesome. I love having this business. I love having that space. It's just a nice little space to go. I can go there whenever I want. It's open 24/7, like the office building. So like we can just do whatever, man. It's been really, really cool.
Do you got a full setup in there too?
No, I wish, bro. I'm working on it. I'm actually looking to buy like a PC for there. So that way I can like do work there. That's like video editing. So I can just kind of keep this to like just like gaming and my own content creation, kind of have that full on separation. But yeah, right now it's just my MacBook Pro, and like I got a 27-inch curved like Samsung monitor up in there with a Razer mechanical keyboard and an Apple mouse. So we're just rolling, bro. So that's what I do over there. And then I got, it's a nice little office setup. So can't complain. So it's been really fun doing that.
So with your company, if you don't mind me asking, what are your goals with it as time goes on? Do you have things slated out, or are you just kind of taking it as everything comes?
So I think when I first started, it was just kind of take it as it comes. So it was just the first, I never thought I was going to do this. So right. I thought I was going to be a pastor my whole life. I thought I was going to be a senior pastor. I was a youth pastor. I was like, the next obvious step is to either, do like some sort of like, kind of like an operations person, or be a senior pastor eventually. And after COVID, obviously that totally changed. And I looked my pastor in my eyes, like, I can handle teenagers and like understand that some of them may be ignorant and not know what's going on in life. And, I'm just guiding them, helping them out as much as I can. They're going to make mistakes. They're teenagers. I get it. Totally get it. Like, I know I made dumb mistakes as a teenager. So like I have 100% grace and understanding. But when I see adults acting like teenagers, I'm like, I don't know how you do it, pastor. I don't understand. I don't know how you do with these adults, because I would be as blunt as heck with them, because because it's just one of those things where in the South too, the culture is very like, it's something that we're trying to like, shift a little bit in our church, is like, it's very like, the pastor is everything. Like, you have to go to the pastor for everything. And he's like, I'm tired. He's like, people come to me for the same thing mostly every single day, it feels like, he says. And I'm like, I can only guide you so much. Like, if you don't want to change yourself, like, right, what do you want me to do? And so like, I told him, like, I can't do that. Like, I would be out of that church in a moment, not because I didn't like it, just because I don't want to deal with people like that. And so when I stepped into this, I didn't think, like, my whole goal for my life and my whole thought process of where my life was going to go shifted 100%. Like, I wouldn't think that if you told me a year and a half ago that I'd be sitting here talking to you about a business that I started, nope. I would laugh at you, because I would not think in a million years. And I think one of the things too that I've had to overcome with all of this and starting my business and kind of shifting a new direction is I had mentioned while we were talking before we started the podcast was I have ADHD, like pretty strong ADHD, that I finally told my wife, I was like, I need to like probably go get like actual medication now. Not because of anything bad, just because like, man, like I've tried, like we've done a lot of natural supplements and it's helped out a ton. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, this is crazy. And so there's a lot of things that I, as somebody who may not have it, have to, balance, which is like low dopamine, like motivation sometimes just doesn't hit sometimes. Even the desire to want to do something like, so my life, a day in a life sometimes is very like, I know all the stuff I have to get done. I'm not lazy. I want to do this, but I just don't have the will to do it right now. I just can't do it as much as I want to, right? As much as I know, like I got 10 videos I got it today. Like my brain is like, nope, you're not doing it today. And I'm like, but I need to do it. Nope, you can't do it today. And so that's the battle I face all the time. And so I think one of the biggest hurdles I've had to overcome was thinking I could do this or not. Right. Is stepping into it. I think it's scary for anybody running your own business or starting your own business, because
for sure.
your life is totally now based off of not just clocking in and clocking out and getting a paycheck at the end of the week. Your life is now based on, man, I hope I get a client this month, because if I don't, we're going to have to cut back on a lot of stuff. Or, man, I hope that this person pays their invoice on time, because if they don't, man, we're going to be behind again. Right. And it's not, and I say it on that level of not saying it's always drastic like that, but it's very
that's
like
the thoughts when you first start out,
exactly. And so it's very like, man, can I actually do this? Can I maintain this motivation? Can I maintain, those days where I have low, have a low dopamine day and I can't, it's not that I don't want to, it's just like my brain is just not cooperating with me today and I can't do this. Or this something called task paralysis, where I'm like, I got so much to do and I don't know where to start and things are frustrating and the kids are yelling in the background. And now I know on the back of my head that my wife has to go do something later today. You know what? Forget it. I'm just not going to do anything today because it's not worth it. Right.
For sure.
And so learning how to do that, right, as I move forward, as a business, and, fast forwarding through, further of going forward with my company is, I think in the next, like I mentioned, 5 years, I would really like to move away from being owner operator and just kind of being owner and just kind of maintaining maybe some of the bigger clients and stuff like that. I don't know if I necessarily, I'm like, man, I want to be a 30, $50 million company, to be honest with you. If it happens, like, not that I don't have the drive to it. And there's some goals that I have that I've written out that if this is something that could happen, it'd be great to see. I think my goal honestly would be to have enough business where I can be like, cool, I have time with my family. I don't need to work 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day, editing videos for people, or trying to get pictures edited and stuff like that. I can literally just be like, we have enough clients where I can pay people based off of, pay people to handle clients. I can get a salary from, or I can get an income from, managing contracts and all this different stuff. That's something that I would love to do. With this, I don't think it, to be honest, I think this company is going to be something that stays with me. I don't think it's an end all. There's so many other things that we would love to do. Me and my wife have a big heart to do, like, missions work with orphanages. We have, stuff like that. I really want to work with organizations that go and do humanitarian projects and do video and like stuff like that for them. Just kind of see that. And so there's a lot of things that we would like to do. Now, I don't know if those are going to happen, but those are some things that we were kind of wanting to move in the direction of doing. Even thinking about new location to live. We're not going to, we got to the point where like, we just don't want to be in Louisiana anymore. So we're looking into places like, no, it's tough, dude. It's not a bad, because it sucks because the people are amazing. I love the people here, but just Louisiana is just not, it's just not it, dude. It's just not it. Even like people who are like, man, let's go to New Orleans and Bourbon Street. No, just don't do it. It is dirty, garbage, and smells like a porta potty and alcohol. It's just not it, bro. It's just not. And so we're looking at places like where we can flourish a little more, like in Austin, Texas is what we're looking into, or Lexington, Kentucky. All these different places that we want to move that can potentially help us move forward, especially with getting those kind of clients, like reaching out to clients on Indeed to get those higher paying things. So that way we can move in that direction of having a little more freedom. I do also, we're looking into buying some turnkey businesses too, and everything like that. Like car washes or like, laundromats and stuff like that too. We just want to be able to have the freedom to be able to be with our kids and, be able to do stuff, because I don't know about you, but I know, my parents, they worked all the time, like literally just work to live. And I'm like, live to work. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to die like just to get a paycheck. Like I want to be able to build something for my kids to pass it on to, and whether that's this social, whatever, whether it's this company or if it's something else down the road, like I want to be able to pass it on. And so I think all in all, this kind of space is going to be in us. I don't know if necessarily Walter World Media is going to be like the Cardone, Grant Cardone, like, the agency and everything like that. I don't know if it's going to be that. We have goals and directions of wanting to get to that level, but if it doesn't, cool. We're very much like, we just want to see what happens and just kind of live with what we feel like the direction we're supposed to go, and
for sure,
all those things.
100%. Well, man, it's been fantastic talking to you today. It's been awesome. It's been like my main thing when you got recommended to me by Sooner was, holy shit, he has a social media marketing agency. I have to get him on because I need the audience to hear about this and hear about a different realm of the creative side, be able to go into more of a, I would maybe classify as traditional business, other than like being a content creator or whatever. So this has been fantastic. I love that you're, so open, being able to share all this stuff, and it's fantastic. You're an awesome guy. I appreciate the time that you gave today, and it's been fantastic.
Dude.
For the audience, go down below into the show notes. All of the socials will be there. Dill's socials, his personal socials, but also his company socials will be down there as well. So go check it all out. Go connect with him. Ask him questions. He would probably be open to answering them.
I'm always down. I'm always down to questions. Just don't go into my DMs and just say hi. That's all I ask.
So now go into his DMs and say hi.
Say hi. Hi, how's it going?
Right. But anyways, thank you again for coming on.
Dude,
and for the audience, thank you for coming out and listening to episode 88 of the Creative Process Podcast. I hope you have a good rest of your day, week, evening, month, whenever you're listening to this. And as always, make sure you tell someone that you love them. All right. We will see you next time. Peace.